Yes, good evening, and thank you for tuning in to another week with Fathers Who Care. And as always, it is our pleasure to come back to you each week with our individuals, issues, concerns, young people that have been just constantly pushing their way through and constantly making a difference in our community. Listen, of course, the weather is telling everybody to stay in, and for the sake of your health, we encourage that. For those of you who need to stay in and can't weather the storm. But I'm going to tell you, for those who got to get out, dress warm. Please dress warm. Please continue to look out for those who may be shut in, particularly our homeless folks. And most importantly, look out for them babies who need this support right now because they're not going to school. And so let's make sure that we provide those young folks with some activities to keep their minds motivated and their spirits uplifted, because they can be a handful if you don't have nothing to do.
That's
so bless those young people. Listen, tonight's show is, as always, we're going to bring to you none other than our own Alderman of the 29th Ward, Alderman Taliaferro. And what we want to do specifically tonight, we want to talk about our theme for the month is People United for Social Change. And in doing that, we want to bring up some topics, particularly this evening, about what can we do to empower, to strengthen folks on the west side of Chicago. Moreover, we want to talk about what can we do to continue to engage, enlighten, and empower our young people. Mm-hmm. I'm real passionate about these young folks.
I agree.
And so I think we should always consider some things we can do to keep these young folks active. You know, like back in the day, we used to have after-school programs, and I know right now there's programs going on in the park districts and things like that. So we may pose that question to you, Alderman, in the process of this interview. What can we do to make sure these young folks have alternatives before the summer hit? And while they're going through the winter, alternatives to keep them involved. So with that being said, you're watching Fathers Who Care this evening. Thanks again, all of you all who may be watching. And we encourage you all to give us a call at 312-738-1060. We're going to open up the lines because we're moving just a little bit behind. But we'll be running this show for about an hour this evening. And we want to thank all of you guys who are continuing to do the good work out there in the community. Continue to look out for those who are less fortunate. And we're going to take this opportunity now to talk to none other than our Alderman of the 29th Ward. He's a man of God, a community servant for social change, and is committed to empowering young folks. And we know that he do a lot of good work with the seniors. We know that you do a lot of good work with infrastructure in the neighborhood. We've seen a lot of work going on in that park. And you can tell us about that work. And we know that park, and I mean, that's a nice park.
It is.
Galewood Park. So you can tell us about it. And also, I have been sharing this, I'm off the record a little bit, but I've been sharing this thought with folks at our coalition meeting. How impressed I personally was with the work that you've been doing with the commander in the 25th district. Now, I'm not knocking other groups or other districts, but I've seen some work that we was hoping that some other districts would kind of emulate and maybe duplicate what something you do with that alderman, with the commander.
Yes.
Because I've noticed when you have those meetings with the commander, not only do he have his upline of command officers, but when people share information, the information gets taken care of relatively quick. Is there a reason why that happens?
You know what? I have to give much of the credit to Commander Escamilla,
Right,
the commander of the 25th District, who's been very engaged with my office as well as the community. He's only been a phone call away. Whenever we've needed him, he's stepped up to the plate. And even some of the ideas that I've implemented or wanted to implement, he's been very open to those ideas. So we have some new things and some great things going on in the 25th District, which we will be presenting a pilot program that's only being run in the 25th District. We're going to be presenting that program on the third Wednesday of the month at Rutherford Sierra Park. But our commander has been fantastic in helping to reduce crime in the 25th District, particularly in the Galewood and North Austin communities or neighborhoods.
So with that being said, we just want to encourage those other districts, particularly the district of the 28th would be Alderman Jason Irvin. 37 would be Alderman Emma Mitz. 27, Walter Barnett. 24, Michael Scott. So we're just trying to say to you that there's nothing wrong with duplicating something that worked.
That's correct.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Would you agree?
I agree with you.
And I do think that was the successful meetings that we had been. I mean, we had some nice turnout of folks.
We did.
All right.
And this was an initiative. What we were talking about, I called it my quadrant program. There was one of the things that we initiated. We essentially took 4 blocks, which defined our boundaries. Within those boundaries, I asked the commander to step up and increase patrol in those areas, to do more reach out through the community of the Chicago Alternative Policing Strategy Office. But from a city side, we were able to step up on city resources and city services, getting trees cut back away from the lamp post, so that the streets were brighter, making sure our alleys were clean, our streets were repaved, alleys were resurfaced. So a collective effort and working together, I think we were able to do good things. We started this program October of 2017 with the idea that I took from a program that I was associated with while being a police officer, and we just did it on a smaller scale.
Okay.
We took the Operation Impact Zone and made it into a quadrant program, and we saw significant results in that first quadrant. And then we took another quadrant, saw some good results, but not as much participation. But still, the commander was committed to both quadrants, and we did a fantastic job, I believe.
So what's your expected outcome for these meetings with the commander and the aldermen and the staff and all that good stuff? What's your expected outcome?
Well, I think the outcome was very productive. The 25th district, of all the police districts in the city, the 25th district had a higher reduction in crime than all of them, and that's across the board.
Okay.
That was one of the statistics that the commander was very proud of. I'm very proud of them as well. To be the top district in the city of Chicago with reductions in crime, we couldn't ask for a better effort.
Is that why the pilot program is being implemented in?
That may be one of the reasons. I'm not for sure, because these statistics were just recently released.
Okay.
And I think the 25th district had been selected to be the host of the pilot program long before those statistics were released.
But it don't hurt.
But it don't hurt at all.
Right.
And the officers we have a great bunch of officers in that district. Of course, I used to work there, and I worked with many of them.
Okay.
But to see their attention and their attentiveness to crime and just a passion to want to reduce crime in our communities, I certainly tip my hat to them.
So Alderman, thank you for the comment. But we have a caller. Do you mind if we start?
No, please.
Okay. So we're going to entertain some calls here. Caller, you on there? Your comment or question, please.
First of all, I just have a simple comment. I want to tell the both of you gentlemen, you're doing some great work on the west side of Chicago. This is Anthony Beckham, Reverend Walter Jones. How you doing, my friend?
What's going on, Anthony?
How are you doing, Anthony?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I think it's outstanding the work that you're doing in the community and how you're taking it a step further. And then I think that you didn't get a chance to mention, but you also had a big part to play in the collaborative way of the Sheriff's Department engaging and working with the community, and also the Chicago Police Department on the west side of Chicago, up and down Chicago Avenue, up and down Madison
as well.
But not just from a police perspective, but from a community police perspective, getting out the car, engaging with the neighbors, and talking. And then finally, I think that you must talk about the veterans lot that you brought to fruition, which I can't wait to see the veterans enjoy when the weather breaks. And that's just a part of how you begin to change the dynamics in the community. But I just want to say to both of you all, keep up the great work, and it's always good to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony.
It's always a pleasure to hear from you as well, and you keep up the good work out there too. But Alderman, go ahead.
And if I could just, I appreciate you, Anthony, for bringing that up. I remember about 4 years ago, I had an opportunity to sit down with then Commissioner Richard Boykin, as well as Sheriff Dart, and we talked about the importance of police patrol on the west side of Chicago. And Sheriff Dart really stepped up to the plate and, just said whatever we need, he was willing to cooperate. And so since then, since my second year in office, Sheriff Dart has really helped us out by having the Sheriff's Department Cook County Sheriff's Police patrol the west side of Chicago. And Anthony mentioned the 29th Ward Veterans Peace Garden. That's a garden that we're going to be doing groundbreaking on. I'm very proud of it. I worked with the South Austin's Neighbors Association or Neighborhood Association, and we just had an incredible project as a result of our collective effort, a community effort, and the participatory budgeting program that we've done. But I do want to mention this as well before we move on.
Sure.
Something that, in giving both of our commanders, Commander Ernest Cato, as well as Commander Escamilla,
let's
a lot of credit.
Right.
We have, in the 29th Ward, we have reduced murders in the 29th Ward by 73%. 73%. And that is, I know it does not sound as riveting as it is, but to go to single digits in murders, and our shootings have been dramatically decreased as well. I tip my hats to not just the commanders, but our community residents as well for organizing block parties, organizing block clubs, trying to rebuild that trust between the community and the police. All of these things and others played a direct role in having a serious reduction in crime in the 29th Ward. And I'm certainly proud that we were able to reduce crime and the significant impact that it's had on building a better quality of life.
So I want to echo, if you don't mind, Alderman, the good work that Commander Cato is doing.
Yes, he is.
And I'm gonna step out there with Escamilla as well because they've been extremely open.
They have been.
I mean, they've been accessible. All right, I'm being honest. I mean, this is not just talk. Commander Cato and Commander Escamilla have been extremely accessible. You want to talk to them, they're open to talk to you. Anytime you look up, you catch, of course, Cato everywhere on the street.
You do.
And he loves the young people, and he's always out there with the young people. And he just did a big gala for the young folks called the Explorer Gala.
That's right. I was there.
So he really trying to do things to empower these young folks, and you got Escamilla on the north end doing things with the young people, got things doing with the block clubs, got stuff going on. I mean, so it's a lot of good things going on in the district. I want to just encourage those in the other district. You got 11 doing activities with the young folks, mentoring and all that good stuff. So let's continue to share the ideas. What you think?
I agree. We are building a better community. We're building a better ward, and we're building better neighborhoods when we continue to work in a collaborative effort. So none of us can succeed alone.
I agree.
But when we keep working together, our faith-based leaders, our faith-based community, our residents, our seniors, our youth, our police, and our elected officials, that collaborative effort, we've been there with that collaborative effort. We've been able to see tremendous results in the 29th Ward.
Alderman, you got some more calls. Do you mind if we entertain some more calls?
Please.
Okay, you're watching Fathers Who Care. Our phone number here this evening is 312-738-1060. And for additional information about activities that's going on with Fathers Who Care and how you can be involved, be it volunteering or dropping off some young people to be actively involved with the Youth Council, you can log in to fatherswhocare.org or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram of all of that good stuff. But them young folks are actively involved, and we got to keep lifting up our young people. We got a caller, you on the air. We have the Alderman and Committeeman of the 29th Ward, Alderman Taliaferro. What's your comment and question, please? Hello?
Yes, I would like to begin by saying thank you to the Alderman for being a willing vessel for the Austin community, trying to make a difference. I appreciate that.
Thank you, caller.
I have a question for you, Alderman.
Yes.
I would like to know, what are your plans as far as finding more activities for our youth in order to keep the gang activity down? And I hear you say that, a change has already come about, and that's a good thing, and I thank you for that. But do you have any other ideas for continuing to keep it down? Because the older generation, we get kind of scared when the summertime comes and when the weather breaks as to what's going to happen when you see the young folks and the young men hanging all on the corners, getting ready to get in uproar with the street activity and whatnot. So what are you going to do to keep that down? And I just want to hear what your comment is, okay?
Thank you so much, caller.
Thank you for the call. Please.
And Carl, I appreciate the question so much because we do recognize that the majority of our crimes are committed by young adults. Many of those young adults have dropped out of school. What I would love to see, and this is after recognizing what one of my colleagues was able to bring to his ward, is just a youth center that would, be able to host a lot of activities that would bring not only our youth in, but bring their parents in as well. We have had initial discussions to bring a youth center to the 29th Ward. The youth center has already been funded with private funding.
Where?
Not far from you on North Avenue, the Monumental Building.
Oh, okay.
That building has been purchased already. We are starting to have community talks about bringing that youth center there.
That's nice.
It's a $29 million project that's not only going to engage our youth and their parents, but it's going to bring jobs to that neighborhood and that community as well. So I'm very excited about it. I've had one meeting with my business development committee, as well as the developer and the owner, and they're very excited about coming to Austin. We're very excited about it. They've not hidden about who it is. It's celebrity. If you guys are familiar with Hannibal Buress, it's his idea, his vision, to see something come to the Austin community that will substantiate growing and facilitate growing great relationships with our youth in the community.
And that's, go ahead.
So, Caller, that's one of the things that I'd like to see coming to fruition in the next year or so. But also, we have to continue to look at what we already do have and expand upon those programs, like Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
I am very happy to say that we have 2 in the ward that are really going out and engaging our youth. We have Build in the ward. Build it provides excellent programming for just building the inside of a young adult, making them feel proud about who they are, proud about where they live, and providing that resource. We have Kids Express, who take young kids and teaching them all the way through being a young adult, tutoring, recreational activities, technology training. So we have some great things in the ward that we want to continue to expound upon in the next 4 years.
Okay, so what about a resource directory of social service activities or after-school activities for young people?
I think that's something that we can certainly work on. But I think, again, we have to have a collective effort in that.
Absolutely.
So that, and I would like to take that on, a collective effort where our resources are available so that a parent or guardian or not just that, but our faith-based leaders can look and say, okay, how can I get these kids in a good program?
Absolutely.
And that way, it's a central location where if you have a program, Reverend Jones, you can say, Alderman, can you put this program on your website or on that resource page?
Absolutely.
And it becomes identifiable to everyone. So I think that's an excellent idea that we should.
I do too.
We should move on. It's almost like having a phone book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we know that these young folks are getting caught up out here because they're just trying to fit in, they're not bad children.
Right.
They're just trying to fit in. And when young people don't have nothing to do, they create something to do. But for the most part, these young people, Alderman, I see it all the time. They want to be involved. They want to play ball. They want to play games. They want to be actively. That's what they want to do.
Right.
But if they don't have those outlets, then they result to creating new outlets.
The worst thing that we can do as adults, I think, is to leave them out.
That's right. I agree.
Leave them out of the planning, leave them out of the implementation, and leaving them out of the evaluation of what's going on in the ward and what's going on the west side of Chicago. That's a crucial mistake.
Right.
And so when we get them involved, get them engaged, and make them feel a part of, we can grab their attention for a long time rather than a short span, because they want to feel a part of as well. So I do appreciate having that phone book.
Okay.
To where we can go through.
So that's something that you committed to?
Yes.
And so anything we can do to be of assistance, we're open to that.
Thank you so much.
Because I think the more the merrier. I mean, these children are our children. And so it's to our benefit to empower our children. And in doing that, there may be opportunities for the parents.
That's true. That's
To bridge the relationships with the young people. But let's go back to the caller. And by the way, for those who've been trying to catch us on Facebook, for some reason or another, we can't get a live connection up in here. So David, if you get a chance to come on in and work on this stuff and make sure we can get this live connection going. But caller, you on there, your comment or question. We have here with us Alderman Taliaferro, Chris Taliaferro of the 29th Ward. Your comment, please.
Yes, I'd like to say that I thank the alderman for his efforts in fighting these drugs. I have a question. How is he incorporating this with the local enforcement officers and with the state, the federal, and the city?
How are you incorporating what, sir?
The efforts to fight the drug selling in our neighborhood.
Okay. Thank you for that comment. That question.
He's been doing a tremendous job, and I just wanted to commend him for that.
Thank you so much, caller. If I understand you correctly, this is something that, Fathers Who Care has been leading this movement. If I understand you correctly, I want to respond with regard to how can we keep drugs off of our streets. I think we simply have to be able to rely not just on our police, not just on our elected officials, but on one another. We have to rely on our community. As we look at things, we are moving into a society where almost every elected official, to include our governor, is standing on the foundation in support of legalized recreational marijuana use. Ultimately, what we're looking at...
Absolutely.
Ultimately, what we are looking at is we're saying in the next year or two that we want to legalize drugs. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Something like that.
I think it could provide the tax revenue that the city and the state may need to put itself on a different plateau.
So are you for it?
I'm for it on the condition, though, we have to make sure that we are providing resources way before that we're providing that avenue for our constituents. In other words, we know that gambling, there's an addiction to that. There's those that are going to...
And they're proposing a riverboat too, right?
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
So we know that there's ills in gambling, there's ills and effects with drug use, increased DUIs, possibly addiction, increased use. So what we have to do as a community by preempting those things, we have to make sure that we have community resources available. These are resources that are led by the community.
Okay.
We need substance abuse counseling in place.
Absolutely.
We need to have planners in place.
Okay.
We need to have prevention specialists in place.
Okay.
We need to have education in place.
Are you talking about prior to the legalization of recreational use of marijuana for adults as opposed to...
I am. Okay. Because it's simply, if you go down that road, and you go down that road before these things are in place,
right.
Now you have to play catch up.
Okay. So now you do know that there's two bills already.
Yes.
Senate Bill 316 and House Bill 25, 35, or 36, or whatever it is. But there's two bills, right?
That's correct.
And now these bills also include possibly expungement for Class 4 felonies for the sale of cannabis, right?
That's correct.
Then it also hopefully talks about, the redistribution of wealth and revenue into communities of indigent people, some of our communities. Talking about possibly creating some incubators and dispensaries for folks who have not been formally incarcerated or been formally charged with a felony. But there are only 60 contracts for dispensaries. And 55 of them are already gone.
Right. Yeah.
And so they only have 5 left, and they want to present this legislation to legalize.
Well, those 55 people have done what I'm saying we should do.
Okay, gotcha.
They jumped out ahead of.
Okay.
And because it's going to be lucrative for them.
Would you be open to having a dispensary in your ward?
I would talk to my constituents. That's something I would have to bring to my constituents first. I don't think a dispensary should be everywhere.
Okay.
They have to be strategically placed. They have to offer security. They have to offer privacy. Because not everyone's going to choose to use marijuana. Not everyone's going to choose to gamble.
But this legislation will also afford folks the opportunity to grow the marijuana in their own houses. 5 plants.
Wow. So we're moving into a different. Moving into a different time.
Yeah. Unlike other folks. But let's get the next caller, Alderman.
Okay.
And then you can come back.
Yeah, I wanted to say something else
Then
on
you
that.
come after the call. After the caller, we get the caller. Then we go back into your point. Caller, you on there with Alderman Taliaferro? Your comment or question, please.
Hello?
Yes. You on the air?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, but can you turn your television down just a little bit, please?
Can you hear me now?
We can. Go ahead.
Okay, yes. I have been a long life resident over here in the 29th Ward. I live on the south end of the ward. I have never seen the alderman. He's been elected for the last 4 years. I haven't seen you, Alderman. I go to the West Side Community Stakeholders. I haven't seen you there either. I go to the West Side Health Authority. I haven't seen you there either. Your site on Harrison that's there for show, I visit there and nobody's there. So I hear you talking about an ordinance that's already been passed on armed security. That's what the city have already passed. So I see you sitting here, but I haven't seen you. I've been a long life resident of the 29th Ward. He talked about the South End, that he was going to be building this thing. Is that to that Lady Perry, I guess, the white woman? Because I haven't seen anything done in the black community with our children with you. You've been there for 4 years, and I haven't seen any work you've done.
Can we ask you, what is your question for tonight?
My question is, what has he done for the last 4 years?
Well, Alderman, you want to address that concern?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a lot, and I say we because I look at things from a community perspective. I'm sorry that you haven't seen me.
So can I?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this is some information. Go ahead. You want to tell us about that?
I'm sorry that you haven't seen me, but I have been out in the community, and I have been out on the south end. Oh, caller, let me.
1 second. Then if you want to respond, let him respond first, please.
I have been out on the south end of the ward and every part of this 29th Ward, and we've had great things happening.
But
the project.
Would you share this first and then go ahead with the project? Okay, because this is something you asked me to put up.
Okay, well let me respond to the call first.
Go ahead.
Look, we have been active on not only the south end of the ward, but the entirety of the ward, and I really stand on my record. We have office hours on the south end of the ward on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We have my regular office opens 5 days a week, and then we open on Saturdays as well. And the same as on the north end, we open on Saturdays. I have community meetings every single, twice a month, but every single Monday as well. On the first Wednesday of every month, I am at Columbus Park Refectory. On the third Wednesday of the month, I'm at Rutherford Sayre Park. So we can say, or I can say, I am very accessible to my constituents. As far as growth, we have gone from having $0 in the 29th Ward prior to my becoming elected to well over $200 million in contracts, economic development, business growth, well over $200 million. We have a project that's about to open up on Central and Washington. That's Austin's first performance art theater. That will be opening up very soon. That's as a result of not only collaborative efforts with other organizations, but city grants as well. The project that you see on Madison Street, which is the 29th Ward Veterans Garden or Veterans Peace Garden, that's a result of our participatory budget. That has nothing to do with one person on the west side of Chicago. That has something to do with an effort that was started in my office. We have a $29 million project that's starting in North Austin, which is a business incubator. We have a $29 million project that's starting on North Avenue. We brought in a $1.6 billion company to the ward that brought in hundreds of jobs. So the only way you can find out these things are going on, caller, is to make sure you're coming to the meetings as well. But I can honestly tell you, we're at every single event that we're invited to. I'm at every single event I'm invited to. I don't go to the West Side Health Authority. Most of the time, that's in Emma Mrs. Ward. But I can tell you that if I'm not at it, I try to send a representative of my office there as well.
Okay. So with that being said, we have here I put up your website.
Yeah.
And can I pull it up?
Yeah, please.
So on your website, it has dates. Tell us what this is.
Well, these are the community meetings that we have. The first Wednesday of every month, as I said earlier, we're at the Columbus Park Refectory. The third Wednesday of every month, we're at Rutherford Sayre. Every Monday, I have a ward night, a constituent night, an open door policy. If you need more than 15 to 20 minutes, I have an open schedule where I schedule my constituents to meet with them privately. We're open and available in all three offices that we have in the ward. Our main office, we're there almost every single day. Well, we are there every single day, barring holidays and Sundays. And then our satellite offices, because of staff shortage, we're not there every single day, but we're there on Wednesdays, on the south end, Wednesday and Saturday, and on the north end, we're there on Saturdays.
Alderman, this is your evening because folks are hitting these lines. Do you mind if we entertain another call?
Oh, please.
Caller, you on the air. We have with us this evening the Alderman of the 29th Ward, Alderman and Committeeman Chris Taliaferro. What's your comment and question, please? Hello? Do we have the caller? Let's go to the next caller. Caller, you on the air. Can you speak up, please? Okay. It seemed like we may be having some technical difficulties on the phone, but let's go on. So I asked a question before, and I think I did, or if not, I'm going to try it again. Why are you so passionate in being the alderman and committeeman of the 29th Ward?
For me,
Did I ask that already?
No, you didn't, actually.
Okay, all right.
For me, it gives me a platform to be able to help folks.
Okay.
My desires and my passion have always been public and community service. Since I was a young age, I wanted to serve in the military, and I spent a nice long career in both not only the Army National Guards, but I later joined the Marines as well. And then after that, serving as a deputy sheriff and Chicago police officer. But always had a passion for public service and making sure that folks are okay. Folks are getting the resources that they need. And in most cases, even when they don't need them, trying to bring resources to a community. I've always enjoyed it. I'm passionate about it. And I call that, one of the greatest honors we can have, and that's to serve other people.
I agree with that. I recall a proverb that the elder said to me before that. He says, the service is the price we pay for the life we live. All right?
It is.
All right?
It is.
If we want to be of service to others.
That's correct.
So, caller, you on there. Your comment and question, please. Do we have a caller?
The 29th district.
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
What new jobs will be coming to my 29th ward?
Okay. Thank you for that comment.
Right now we have, with bringing in Hostess Brand. Hostess Brand is a $1.8 billion company. We just recently bought Hostess Brand and welcomed them to the 29th Ward. In doing so, we were able to not only bring additional jobs, and they are hiring now, we were able to bring better wages. Every single person there went from a part-time employee to a full-time employee, better benefits. They all have 401ks that the company matches. So we've been able to turn around that company with welcoming Hostess to the ward and create hundreds of jobs over there. So if you're interested in applying for a job, please come and see me about being able to work at Hostess.
So is it go ahead.
But also, we are one of the few wards that have a cleaning crew throughout the ward 3 days a week. I was able to work with private investors that brought in $300,000 for the next 3 years to clean the ward. And so those folks that work and clean the ward are provided employment opportunities on
$300,000.
Yes, $300,000. We have them in the ward 3 days a week. They clean up 8 hours a day, cleaning up our major streets.
Okay.
But also bringing jobs because the folks that work that, they do it on a interim basis. They work it and then they are put into a different program. And this is through Kara and Clean Slate.
Okay.
Where they are matched Well, first they're taught, and they spend approximately 3 to 4 months in their program, learning job skills, learning interview skills, and then they match them with companies such as Hostess and other companies.
Did you say it was the age on this one?
No, any young adult
open.
that needs a job, yes.
So there's no boundaries?
There's no boundaries.
And there's no age
The only
restriction?
boundary is you got to want to work.
No age restriction?
No age restriction.
Okay. So if they
and-
were interested in something to do with a job,
Come see me.
see you.
And we'll get them hooked up.
So what's the number that they can contact you on?
773-237-6460.
One more time for the audience.
773-237-6460.
Now that's if they're interested in this Hostess,
And with
cleaning
working through
program,
Hostess,
and
or working through Cara Clean Slate.
so if you're looking for a job, please stop saying jobs are not here.
Jobs are here.
At least give you a call and check it out. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct, yeah.
Then for those who have been formerly incarcerated, the reentering community, there's opportunities at the Safer Foundation. You know, the Safer do all kind of good work for those men and women who have been coming back into the community. And so if you're interested in that, you can give the Safer Foundation a call at 312-431-8980. If you're interested in some soft skill technology jobs, food service, mechanical, automotive, audio, visual, construction, woodwork, that kind of good stuff. If you're interested in some of those activities, and these are for individuals who have been arrested before and may have a record, please give us a Safer Foundation a call at 312-431-8980, and or you can give Fathers Who Care a call at 773-287-5821. Alderman, you said you had a comment that you wanted to share. Go ahead, please.
Well, let me just, in line with what this caller was just asking.
Okay.
We are going to be groundbreaking on a new opportunity in the ward as well. It's a $29 million project that's going to bring 181 jobs on the North Austin side, just around North Avenue.
128.
181.
181 jobs.
Yeah, just north of North Avenue and Central. The opportunity that we have, there's a company in LA called LA Prep. They were very interested in bringing that concept and idea to Chicago. What LA Prep is, if you're familiar with going to JJ Fish, right? Where you go in there and you can buy a piece of cake. Well, that cake is manufactured somewhere else.
Right.
And it's manufactured in someone's kitchen.
Right.
What LA Prep and what Chicago Prep in the 29th Ward would be doing is they're going to have over 100 and some kitchens, from very small spaces to extremely large spaces.
Okay.
To where you can come in, if you're an entrepreneur, you can come in and create your product, sell it, or box it rather, and ship it. So it's going to be a kitchen prep source or facility.
Yeah.
But that's going to bring 181 jobs.
So do you have anything on that yet out?
Well, we have sat down and talked about the initial, the property has been purchased. We've talked about the initial planning of it, zoning and all of that. And we're going to start talking about it at our community meetings
And this
with
will
the
be
company.
relatively over by North Avenue and Central.
Yes, North and Central area.
Now, where-
Just north of it, on Deming.
Okay, that's going back north.
Yes, that's
Right,
going north,
okay.
just north of the tracks.
Right, okay.
But more importantly than that, it's an opportunity that we have
that's
in
nice.
bringing more jobs. And they are committed to hiring residents from the Austin community. That was one of my criteria.
Okay.
And they're very, very much committed to that.
Listen,
We do have job opportunities. We work with Pastor Bill Winston in his church, Living Word.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day they have buses going out for folks that want to work.
Well, Alderman,
I can keep going.
you know, you can keep going, because what I think, it's important now. This show is dedicated to talking about what we can do to empower the people.
That's correct.
So that's where I want to stay focused on.
Let's do.
I want to stay focused on what we can do to empower these young people. I want to be focused on what we can do for those who are not working to work. I want to be concerned about those who have been formerly incarcerated, finding an opportunity, possibly getting licensed.
Yes.
For doing barbering or whatever they want to do, entrepreneurship programs. And since I already believe that this is a conclusion that they're going to bring the legalization of marijuana to the community, I believe that some of those resources should come into the ward. And I'm encouraging you personally to not support any legislation that doesn't have in that legislation some contingencies to expunge convictions or records of folks who've been formerly incarcerated for that cannabis, and if they're not bringing additional resources to your ward to empower folks in your ward.
Yeah, and I truly support State's Attorney Kim Fox's proposition to make sure that there is an expungement of all records where it involves a conviction for possession or use of marijuana.
Class 4s.
Yeah, and I haven't read the details of her proposal. I just briefly heard her press conference, but I do want to support her on that initiative.
Well, I believe that there's going to be possibility of legalization of recreational use of marijuana. I just believe it. The governor said it. So if he said it, I might as well believe him. All right?
The governor's passionate about it.
All right. If he said it, I believe it's going to happen. But enough of that. What's the budget for the city?
$8.9 billion.
Hey, what's the state of the city right now with what's going on down there?
Of the city? Well,
The city governor, the alderman, the council.
I think it's been very interesting over the past few months. There's a lot of things going on with some of our senior statesmen,
Right.
or some of our senior council members, and I don't want it to distract from what we need to do in our wards, what we need to do on the west side of Chicago or on the south side of Chicago. We have a few aldermen that are going through, and I think about 3 that are going through some legal issues. But that's something they have to deal with. The court of public opinion and the court of justice will deal with that.
Okay.
But we can't stay so focused on that, not to forget about where we need to build.
Okay.
And particularly in my ward and on the west side of Chicago.
Let me ask this question.
So the city's going through some terrible.
I see it. But let's lighten up and go to another. Why is it important for people to vote?
Well, that's how your voice is heard.
Okay.
You vote for a person that that you believe will present your issues in their vote. Because we all, in my ward, we have 55,000 people, and we have one vote. But in having 55,000 constituents, their voices are transitioning to that vote. And so it's important to vote because you want someone there that's going to represent your issues. And not give in or cave in to what the administration may want. And that's something I'm very proud of, Pastor Jones, that I've been able to withstand the pressures that's associated with it and vote how my community, or how I believe my community would have liked me to vote.
So what is your vision for the 29th Ward?
I see our ward transitioning. Transitioning from a lack of development to a ward that is bringing in $200 million and more. I see a ward that was once had very high crime rates when it came to murders and shootings and burglaries, car thefts. I envision having no murders. And I certainly like to continue to trend along that. I see a ward where there was lack of educational opportunities, where schools were being closed, to presenting an opportunity where our kids can have a quality education with no worry about school closures. I see a ward where our residents are having the same quality of life that's enjoyed in other areas of the city. And I think we're moving toward that.
Okay.
We're transitioning toward that.
If folks were interested in talking to you about some of their personal concerns and or some issues they may have, folks is entitled to have concerns and they're entitled to talk to you, right? You have an open door policy, correct?
I absolutely do.
So what number can they call if they wanted to set up an appointment to talk to you?
773-237-6460.
Now, if they was concerned about attending some of your meetings, I understand you have various different meetings.
I think I have more than any other alderman.
So if they were interested, they can call your office and inquire about the meetings, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or they could go on our website.
So if they go on the website, what's the website?
ALD, as for Alderman, Taliaferro.com.
Okay, now, these are the meetings, the monthly meetings, the ward nights and all that, right?
The first Wednesday of the month, we meet at Columbus Park Refectory. The third Wednesday of the month, we meet at Rutherford Sayre Park. We have ward night in my office every single Monday except on holidays.
What are you doing for the seniors? I just had to ask because I have a passion for them too. I really do. I really do.
Anybody that knows me know I have
a passion for the seniors.
a deep passion for our seniors.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're forgotten about, and
Oftentimes.
it is.
yeah, often.
But I often want to remind them that they are the foundation on which we stand on. Their marches and during the civil rights movement.
Yeah. The work they put in.
They put in
The foundation
a lot.
they've laid.
So I try to make sure that my seniors feel welcomed in the civic process as well. I often visit them. In visiting one of our senior centers, I actually had a chance to talk with them and ask them, what do you need most?
Okay.
And they made it very simple. Get these guys from in front of the building
Right.
selling drugs. And so I initiated an ordinance that would create a senior safety zone. And I was very happy and pleased.
Is this against loitering or something?
No, not against loitering, but committing certain crimes and certain acts
Okay.
within a certain parameter of a senior residence,
Okay.
a nursing home, or rehabilitation center. But that gives them a sense of peace and a sense of being able to enjoy
So let me get
their
this.
property.
Let me get this. So if they have property or they're in a facility, there's this particular ordinance.
This particular ordinance, not their private residence,
Okay.
but a senior center,
Okay, a facility. Right.
a nursing home or
Right.
rehabilitation
Okay.
center.
Okay.
We've created what's called
A
a
safe
safety
zone. Yeah, I like that.
We
I
have
like
it.
that,
We have
yeah.
it with schools.
Yeah, I like that.
And we have it with parks.
So we're gonna have one around our seniors.
The mayor, we already do. It was
Okay.
it was passed in June of
Okay.
2018. The mayor was
nice.
very happy about it, and a lot of my constituents, all of them signed on to the ordinance, and it was unanimously voted on. So we now have senior safety zones.
You got another caller, Alderman.
Yes.
Caller, your comment or question, please.
I just have a comment. I just want to thank the alderman for all that he's doing and listening. And I'm very, very interested in everything that he's talking about. And I just really appreciate, what he's doing and the difference that he's making. And I just wanted to say thank you. And you've made this show very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, caller.
And the line is open. We're talking to Alderman Chris Taliaferro, the Alderman and Committeeman of the 29th Ward, and he just shared with us some of the ideas, some of the visions, some of the things that are going on in the ward. And that if you're interested in getting in touch with the Alderman, that you can contact his office, attend some of the meetings.
Please.
So also tell us now. I thought that it was real important that folks stay engaged. Young people don't have very many role models. But I figured if we really want to create a safe community, a community that's positive, and people being able to do things, what about going back into having block clubs? What you think about that?
Oh man, I agree with those so much. We need block clubs. We need to have our blocks represented.
Right.
One of my staff assistants came up with the idea back in it was in February, March of 2018 to have block representatives. So we started a program called Block Representatives. It's a simple name, but a great concept. Rather, if you don't want to have a block club, we're asking any person on that block to represent their block.
Block representative.
Block representatives. It's a removal from precinct captains. You don't have to worry about a whole precinct now. We're asking you to love your block. And that person has a direct contact with my office, and we have a direct contact with them.
Okay.
Where we can provide resources to that block, and they can let us know what their needs, and we'll let them know what our needs are.
So you done told us what's new in the ward. You done told us activities.
I got to say this one, though.
Sure, go ahead.
So if you're interested in being a block representative, we now have over 70. We have 70 blocks that are represented. If you want to be a block representative for your block,
Right.
please call our office.
And the number?
Yeah, we give you a badge and everything.
And the number?
The number is 773-237-6460.
And you'll tell them more about what are the responsibilities
Of a block representative.
Of a block representative. And you guys, and then you would empower them to be leaders on the block.
They're deputies.
They're deputies on the block. Okay.
If you look at it from a sheriff and a deputy perspective,
Yeah.
they would be the deputies of the block.
Okay, I like that. Block representative. So tell us now. Now we got to shut the show down. To close it up. So we got a few activities going on as we shared with you. If you want additional information about reducing violence through employment, and you want to get in touch with the Safer Foundation, you do. They got a program for 18 to 26. The number is 312-431-8980, and we're doing a Black History program on young entrepreneurs on Friday, February 22nd. Excuse me, at the Forest Park Public Library. For additional information, contact Fathers Who Care. So give us some closing comments that you would want the viewing audience to know about what can they do to be civically engaged in their community. You said Black representatives, right?
That's correct.
What else can they do?
Well, I think one of the important things that we're doing in the ward as well, and this may go to our other caller,
Right.
As any elected official, whether you're a congressman, state rep, alderman, it is very difficult to knock on every door in your respected area. So one of the things I think is important for us to do is to come up with a way to be able to reach as many constituents as possible. So we started a lawn talk program.
Who?
Lawn talk, as
Lawn
in LAWN.
Lawn.
It's been tremendously successful.
Okay.
If your block want to have the alderman come out, and we sit on your front lawn, we sit in your back lawn, you invite your block, we're there. And we sit out and enjoy ourselves as long as you need us to. Some of them have been 2 hours, 3 hours, but we do them every single week. Over the wintertime, we slow them down.
Okay.
But if you want to do a lawn talk, we just have to move it inside.
Okay.
It's a successful program that I think gives our residents an opportunity to have a one-on-one for the block.
Well,
Call them a lawn talk. Call our office at 773-237-6460 to schedule a lawn talk.
listen, you've been watching Fathers Who Care. Our guest this evening is none other than Alderman and Committeeman Chris Taliaferro of the 29th Ward. Listen, we thank all of you with your calls, comments, and concerns. Thank you so much for being who you are and what you are. And we want to encourage you to just be more actively involved in what's going on in your community, what's going on in your homes, what's going on with your children. We believe if we all can come together, we can make our side of town, our community, a better community. I don't think we should point fingers about what this ain't and that ain't. Let's work together to make our community a better community. And I think the more we communicate, the better off we are.
I agree.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, indeed.
So I'm asking you, those of you who are watching this evening, let's communicate with each other. Let's work together and not apart. If we bring the resources in, then let's bring the resources in to empower our community and our young people. Mm-hmm. Let's do that. Let's do that for a while and see what that brings out. We want to thank those those of out there who are manning the phones and all that other good stuff. We got Vernicia, we got Amari, we got David, we got Kiana, we got whoever else in there that I don't remember. And Robert, we got Robert in there. And anyway, Amari and all them other folks. Listen, thank you all so very much for your calls, your comments. Alderman, again, thank you so very much for what you do and why you do it. Give them another opportunity, phone number, if they want to get in touch with you, please.
773-237-6460.
And I'm going to put this up because I just feel compelled to do it.
Boom.
You said that you're meeting on the first Wednesday of each month at Columbus Park at 6:30.
That's correct.
You're meeting at Redford Park every third Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
And every Monday night from 5 to 7 is ward night. What is a ward night?
Ward night is my open door. The night I just sit there and my constituents come in and we talk about their concerns.
So this is just unofficial meeting.
Yes.
So they can come in and talk about whatever they want.
They can come in and talk about whatever they want. But more importantly, these community nights are so important because we talk about community issues. We talk about community opportunities.
Okay.
We talk about the city, what's going on in the city. So it's so important to be at these meetings. Because if not, you don't get the information.
So we heard it here. So now the alderman has called on us a couple of challenges. He has challenged us. We have challenged him on some topics. And we all came into a happy medium that we will work together.
Yes.
So with that ideal of working together, then let's do the good work of saving our children and saving our communities and doing what we can for the least of them. Listen, I got to cut it down now because the time on the wall is saying that is all. But I want to thank all of you for all that you do and what you continue to do. God bless you. God keep you. Have a blessed evening. Good night. Keep the faith, and we'll see you on the other side. And please, look, stay warm. Visit the warming centers. Visit folks who you know are elderly. Visit those who you know may not have adequate resources and services. And let's be a blessing to each other. Let's love ye one another. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow, next week, same time, same station. But tomorrow we're going to be at the office working. So come on down if you need us, and we love you, and we'll see you then. Good night.